What is difficult is voltage control. But think about your state and my state. I live in Florida. When I moved to Florida in 1974, there were 7.4 million people in this state. And all of the little houses along the water and on the intercoastal here were 1,200 square foot winter cottages. So fast forward, here we are, 2023. The population is nearing 26 million. You know, the only state that's got more people, two states that got more people than us is Texas and California. And the only one of those two that's growing is Texas, because California is shrinking. And then just like in Texas, I was in Austin recently and watched what used to be all these nice little old fraternity houses and things that are now gigantic mansions around Austin. In Florida, our 1,200 square foot intercoastal cottages are now 25,000 square feet. I don't believe there has been a power plant built in this state since 1975. So despite the fact that air conditioning, lighting, everything's gotten more efficient, we don't generate more power. So how can we expect power quality to be maintained? And when you start looking at utility specs, you can see, you know, all of a sudden you see a lot of voltage sags. And voltage sags are very detrimental to all of the things we talked about. All the microprocessors. If you think about, and most people have lives, so they don't think about microprocessor design, we try and make microprocessors smaller and smaller and smaller. The biggest problem with making something smaller is how do you dissipate heat? When you lower voltage, you increase amperage, which creates heat. So now we are working against the efficiency of microprocessors with voltage. So that's a discussion we have with many of our clients saying, hey, the problems you are experiencing have nothing to do with just a battery. They have everything to do with what's gone on with the expansion of population and the expansion of the size of a house. And that's what's going on in Texas. I mean, that's what's going on in many, many states, particularly along both coasts, because everybody's moving there. So, you know, and tying that back to the renewable, when you have that kind of fluctuation in renewables, because people don't think about, it puts out a kilowatt on average, a cloud goes by, that kilowatt is cut to 200 because you can lose 80% of your power generation just when a cloud goes by. Well, your house is really not going to like the fact that it went from a need of a kilowatt and all of a sudden you're providing it with 200 watts. Every breaker in the place trips. So, and all of those things that's why people now mitigate that effect by adding batteries to their solar.